What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dissensio Podcast. I'm your host, OC.
I'm DJ. What's happening?
How you feeling, bro?
Everything's copacetic, man. Been working a lot lately.
Yeah.
You know, life's been lifing. I got a good situation right now, so I'm embracing it, being back in the working world.
Yeah, how's baby girl doing?
Baby girl is on 10 at all times, as you know. We just had an episode last week.
Right.
She jumped off the bed head first, thought she was a daredevil. You know, she cried for about 2 or 3 minutes and back to it.
Damn.
You know how it go.
I love it. I can't have kids, though.
Hey, them pandemic babies, man. Hey, we gonna get you on board, man.
Nah, bro. I'm 36.
We gonna go. That's understood. I had my baby at 40.
Bro,
what do you mean?
Bro, you're 50 years old with a 2-year-old, bro.
I'm 42,
that don't make
sir,
no sense.
and I don't know why you keep telling people that, but that's gonna be a problem for me.
Okay,
sir.
all right.
I'm 42 years old.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Keep
and
on about
but I look 30.
All right.
Hey, it is what it is.
That's wild. But I'm straight, though, man. I've been working on the podcast. TikTok going off, you know what I'm saying? Building community up there, you know what I'm saying?
I've been seeing you up there on TikTok, man. You've been popping lately,
hey, man. I've been trying to do my thing, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. When I seen the first episode, when I had the black on, I was like, "Holy fuck, I'm big as shit." so I've been
Isn't
walking.
black supposed to be slimming?
I know, but it wasn't, bro. I blew up. So I was like, damn. So I've been walking around a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, trying to slim
that
down.
would explain the rice cakes and whatnot.
Yeah, facts.
Okay,
Facts.
okay.
I mean,
Good
but
deal.
see, you got to buy the rice cakes without the flavor. You know what I'm saying? The regular ones, and I mean, you may get the cheese ones and stuff like that.
Right.
Because it's like 0 calories.
I'm going to pass on that.
All right, cool. Say less.
That's good.
So look, enough of us talking, bro. Let's. You want to introduce the guests that we have on?
I mean, you can. I mean, we can.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Let's do rock paper scissors.
Rock paper scissors.
All right.
Rock paper scissors.
All right, cool. I got it. So, hey, listen, family. This is our guest. Her name is Marcia Blaine. Did I say the last name right?
You did.
Yes. Fuck. Okay. This is Marcia Blaine. She is a. You know what? Let me do it over. Hold on. I want to welcome to my podcast, to our podcast, Marcia Blaine. This is a woman that has saved my life, quite literally. You know what I'm saying? She has saved numerous lives, quite literally. And what I mean by that is her profession, she is a therapist, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Before I get into it like crazy, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I just needed to get that out there. Go ahead.
I am Marcia Blaine. I am a licensed professional counselor, a clinical hypnotherapist. I provide ketamine services. I have a podcast. I save lives.
Mm-hmm.
I save lives. Just bottom line, that's what I do, and that's what I was created for.
Right. So let's talk about it before we get into it. Mm-hmm. How did me and you meet?
You were introduced to me by one of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I received a phone call that said, listen, I got somebody I need you to talk to. I will pay for those sessions. I will give up my spot because I know your calendar isn't open. Can you talk to him? And so we've been client therapists ever since. That has kind of morphed into, hey, what you got going on? Okay, what's the next project? What you doing? Mm-hmm. Let's keep moving. At the time that I met you, you were in a very dark place where life was just lifing. Mm-hmm. And you were not trying to adjust to life. In fact, you were at a point where you like, I think I'm ready to go. I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to check out. And then we ran in it together. And a few things, I mean, little things like, hey, I need you to walk to the mailbox. Mm-hmm. I need you to get out of the house. It was little things like that that helped you turn the corner and starting believing in yourself again, getting through the childhood trauma that you were experiencing, facing it, and then making the best decisions that it would be for you to live your best life.
Right.
Yeah.
Around what year was that? Do you remember?
Oh God, 21. It was
2021. Okay.
right after COVID.
Okay,
It's been a while.
Yeah, that was right after
My
COVID.
clients don't leave.
Yeah.
Listen. I can try to discharge them.
Right.
They can reach a goal and be like, "Hey, I got some more goals." So yeah.
One of the things I do remember, because I forget a lot of things, but I remember that night quite vividly. She called me. I'm not going to say her name, but a good friend of mine from high school called me. We had reconnected. She called me, and after like 3 months of reconnected, she called me one night. I was in the car, and she was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I'm in the Kroger parking lot." I was in the Kroger parking lot. I was burnt out. I was sitting there. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go home, but I know I can't stay here. Da da da. And she called me. She was like, "Look, I set you up an appointment. I just need you to show up." I was like, "What? You don't have to do that." She was like, "No, I love you. I care for you. I can tell that you're done. You're finished. One more thing and you're out of there. So take it. I already paid for it. Da da da." I think I fought it for a while because I'm like, I have to be vulnerable with somebody and I have to let them into all of this chaos that I have. I didn't know how to do that. Fast forward, I remember the first time we had a phone call. Did I call you or you called me?
We were videoing.
No.
Oh, you saying
You're right,
session? So
right.
I contacted you after your friend gave me the information and shared that you may be hesitant. So I contacted you, which is something I really don't do. I don't reach out to clients first because I need to know that you're ready to come to
Right.
therapy.
And the crazy thing is, when you contacted me, I remember I was at home. I had all the lights off, right? And I was on my couch. And like my mind was just everywhere. All the lights were off in the house. I had no music on, nothing. And you called me and we spoke. And instantaneously I broke down.
You did.
And I mean, I just broke down. And then it's something that you told me. You was like, "I want you to do something. I want you to write a love letter." And I was like, "What the fuck? A love letter?"
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah. I was like,
Right.
"What the fuck, a love letter?" She was like, "Yes, write yourself a love letter." And I'm like, "Bro, like, how do you write yourself a love letter?" You know what I'm saying? But think about it, right? If you love somebody, right, those words, they just flow out of you because you love them. You know what you love about them, da, 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 their flaws and all. She said, write a love letter to yourself. Despite those flaws and everything, it took me a couple days. I can say now, when I wrote that love letter, I cried. Because I was like, oh, shit. Like, all of this I got going on? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I had to reteach myself how to love me.
Absolutely.
Now, I mean, explain that, like writing the love letter. Explain that.
So for years, I've had clients to write love letters to themselves because one thing that I know in Western civilization, we're taught to love everybody else except for ourselves.
Right.
We're taught to put everybody else first, and then we get forgotten about because people become so conditioned at you loving them and ignoring yourself that they take advantage of that.
Right.
Most people don't know how to look in the mirror and say, "I love you." Most people won't look at themselves and say, "You did good. You got up and walked outside today." Most people won't take that opportunity. So typically what happens when I say write a love letter to yourself, the first thing people say is, "I don't know how." So I'll give them some starting points. You know, something like, I'll write it to myself. "Hey, Marcia, girl, I just want to say I love you. There are days that I don't know what love is with you, but the truth is I need you. I need you to show up. I need you to be there. I need you to be present. I love you only because you are the person that I think I know, but you're definitely the person that I know I can trust." You know, and started from there. I would give some cues for people that find it really hard because a lot of times I've had to reject love letters and send them back and say, "I didn't ask you to talk about your children. I didn't ask you to talk about your mom.
Right.
I asked you to write a love letter to yourself." One of the things it does help me to do is identify if the person even knows themselves. Most of them don't know themselves. Most people don't. Because, again, you're in a situation where it's like you better take care of your siblings. You better take care of your mom. You better take care of your dad. What about me? What happens, and I told someone about a year and a half ago that after, well, it's a little over a year now, after my dad passed, my mother passed in 2016, my dad passed in 2024. And I said to them, no, 2023. And I said, I was walking down the stairs at my home and I stopped and I said, man, y'all tricked me. Y'all told me to be my siblings' keeper, but y'all did not tell them jokers to be mine. And I done spent all these years trying to love on folks and be there and be the rescuer and be all of that.
And that you didn't know how to love on you. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And so in that process, so we're all still learning to take our love to the next level. And so the importance of that love letter is to get you to a place where you really understand how important you are to you.
Right.
Here's the other thing about writing a love letter is recognizing that you value yourself or you don't. Most people don't know how to value themselves. They don't know how to be present, for themselves. They don't know how to stand up and say no, because most people are afraid of abandonment. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of being alone with themselves. They have low self-esteem. They don't have any value. Writing that love letter begins to unlock all those hidden compartments that you've been hiding your truth in, putting that mask on in.
That was that was deep. The love letter that I actually wrote to myself was.
You were one too?
Yeah, of course. For those that didn't know, Marcia is also my therapist as well. But that love letter, I didn't realize for a long time that I didn't really love myself more than I loved my family, and I wasn't concerned for myself as much and didn't take care of myself as much as I took care of my brothers, my sister, and I was so consumed in what they had going on that it in turn consumed me to the point where pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, constant migraines and whatnot. And ever since I wrote that letter, the first 5 minutes of writing, it completely broke me down. It broke me down to the point where I had to pause for about 45 minutes or so and just gather my breathing, gather myself. And I continued, and it was a weight that was lifted, and I appreciate that. So with that, I thank you for that.
Yeah, you get a freedom from it because one, if you think about it, when you were in school and you wanted somebody, well, I'm telling my age because I'm way older than y'all. But back in the day, you write a letter, do you like me? Yes or no, check the box, give it back, that kind of thing. That was kind of like a love letter back in the day before there were phones, there was postal mail, and people were writing love letters. And so they were expressive. That's one of the things that we've lost in current times is the ability to express ourselves.
I absolutely agree.
For men, we tell you, don't express yourself, don't cry, don't do this, show your bravado. Well, my thing is, if a boy isn't allowed to cry and express his emotions, he's going to cry and express those emotions, but it's going to come out as anger as a man. And most people confuse that anger with, you're just mean, you're just nasty. No, I'm disappointed. I have emotions and I have nowhere for them to go. Nobody's listening to me. People that see me expressing emotions may tell me that I'm weak. I'm not weak. I got stuff in me that needs to come out. And that's why those love letters are important. So
I'm glad you flowed into that. As young boys, we're taught to hold it in, despite whatever it is, because we're gonna be men. We have to be leaders. We have to be the pillars. Shake it off. Don't deal with it. You got to take care of family. You got to take care of all that, right? We're taught that as young boys. That comes with us being teenagers into adulthood. As men, right? How would you suggest to a man to begin to start like sharing? You know what I'm saying? To start caring for themselves without feeling like, oh man, I'm less of a man You know what I'm saying? Like, how would you suggest?
So one of the first
that?
things that I would have, especially coming into therapy with me, we're going to assess where you are. We're going to assess your power to say no to other people. We're going to assess your fears of abandonment and rejection when you choose yourself first. I'm going to push you to express your emotions, because what tends to happen in my generation, we were told, be seen and not heard. So that meant that our voices were stolen very early. We were made to feel as if we didn't have a right to express ourselves. Fast forward to boys, you better not cry. Can't be no sissy. You can't do this, you can't do that, right? And so boys would clam up and they would fume. So what I would tell a young man is, let's go back to that boy first. Let's get back to the little boy that didn't have a voice, that couldn't express himself. Most people realize that I am a trauma specialized therapist. I am not a therapist that sits in the right now. We're going all the way back to your very first memory of whatever it is, because I look for the trauma. Why do I look for the trauma? Because I know the trauma is actually what's dictating how you operate in life.
Absolutely.
Most people don't understand that. So I go back, and to answer your question, I would help him get back to that place of, where was my voice first silenced? Was it first silenced when I saw my mom get beat up by my dad or by somebody else and I couldn't do anything to protect her? Was my voice silenced when I saw someone bigger than me jump on my sister or jump on me and I couldn't protect us? Was my voice silent when I wanted to say no when somebody was touching me? See, people don't talk about boys getting touched. They talk about the girls getting touched, but boys get touched too. Was my voice silent then? What made me feel comfortable? One of the things that I know about men is, in order for them to be vulnerable and talk about their pain, they have to be in a safe environment. And technically, everybody has to be, but for men, because we have this beat-on chest bravado, you have to create an environment that's safe. Now, I'm going to say this to the young ladies. If you have a man in your life that is willing to express themselves emotionally, can y'all please stop demasculating them and trying to tear them down and make them sound like they're weak? Because they're not weak. They're finally at a place, or they thought they were at a place, safe enough to say to you, I hurt. This hurts. But if you turn that back around, you pretty much gonna tell him to shut up for the rest of his life.
I would honestly say that's what happened to me, and I've been married for about 11 years now, going on 12. Shout out to Alicia, love you, baby. But for the first 5 or 6 years, it was hard to open up. She actually wanted to know, what's going on in my mind, and she's been through some of the traumas with me, and she was wondering why why won't you talk about it? Why do you hold everything in? And that led to, her well, do you need to go see a therapist? You should go see a therapist. And then I finally broke down and said, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this, and I need to do this for me before I do it for anybody else.
Absolutely.
Because I got to fix me. And going back to what you said about the childhood trauma, we hold so much in to where it turns us into other people. For me in particular, that turned into a wave of violence. I was a very violent individual. I mean, I was one of the worst of the worst. Until I got with my wife and started to go to therapy and, somewhat open. I still had a wall up, but I would somewhat open up to her periodically and not all the time as I should. And it eventually, a lot of that violent natured, thinking about the worst outcomes, a lot of that subsided. And a lot of that has subsided as of lately because of our sessions. So I would ask, what are some specific cultural factors you consider when you work with Black men in general? So
a couple of things that I automatically take into consideration. What's your relationship like with your mama? That's going to dictate pretty much your entire outlook in life. What's that relationship like with your mama? The relationship that you have with your mama can make you dive headfirst in disliking women but wanting to be around women.
Right.
And mistreating them because there's a lack of respect because of what mama did.
Right.
Or it can make you coddle down so much you don't have a voice.
Right. And that's
you
very
have to
hurtful.
find a balance. So one of the things that I often share with men, especially those who are trying to find their identity as a man. I shared this a few minutes ago before we walked into the studio when a friend of mine called in, and we were just talking, and we were talking about the maturation of men. And she said, I just don't understand why men, especially black men, mature differently and slower than black women. And I said, you know what it is. And she's like, no, I don't. I said, you do. Girls are trained to take care of a house. They're trained to learn how to cook a meal, make sure everybody is good, and yada, 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 yada.
Right.
The boys aren't as much. So their maturation rate is a lot slower, right?
Right.
Because everything was put this burden on this girl child. And
Right.
so by the time that burdened girl child comes of age and she's looking for someone to release the burden. Well, if I've never been trained on how to release a burden, I'm getting ready to become a burden to you. Because now I'm going to be dependent on the things that you've been created, or so I thought, to be. And so that's when you get into the thing of black women are angry, black women are this, and black women are that. No, they just tired. Because from a little girl,
Right.
they had to learn how to make a house run.
And now your husband is adding that extra weight and what have you.
And he doesn't realize that he's adding that extra weight because his process has been be the weight.
Right.
Don't worry about that. Your sister gonna make your bed. Your sister gonna make sure you got something to eat.
True.
Throw your
Very
clothes
true.
in there. Mama gonna wash your clothes.
Very
I'll
true.
do this. Oh, baby, you ain't got to do nothing but take the trash out. So guess what? When he get in that house, all he want to do is take the trash out.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
Let's not talk about the trash, because every time I bring up, whenever I'm online and I bring up trash, I'm like, I don't care. If I ever get married or whatever it is, I'm not taking the trash out. And what I mean is we're both taking the trash out. Because I don't think that's gender-based. People be taking that so seriously. Like, no, you're a man. You said, no, we both take trash out.
Well, I'm like this. If the trash bag is sitting right there and you need to go out, I'm going to take it out.
Very true.
However, the same way. Come on now, y'all. Don't think I'm just going to call for that.
I mean, which is
now, here's the truth. The same way you don't want to always be responsible for taking the trash out, I don't want to always be responsible for planning the meal.
No, for sure.
I don't want to always be responsible for making sure everybody got clean clothes.
For sure.
I don't want to be responsible. Hold on, because now you done got me on the soapbox. I don't want to be responsible for the full makeup and functionality of the house. If you gonna hit me with this, we gonna divide it, we gonna do it, then bruh, we gonna have to do it all the way down the line. That's just the bottom line. If we gonna do that, then you can't expect me. I remember Creflo Dollar said this years ago, probably about 20 years ago. He said, now, y'all gotta be real. You want her to go to work, come home, take care of the kids, cook a meal, and then sex you up at night. And you go to work and come home and sit in a chair. How they gonna work?
Look, you right.
I believe.
Look, we both about to jump on the defense. But see, I'm sitting here with this pair hands right now.
I know who I'm talking to. So I believe, right? My ideal situation, because I can only speak for me. My ideal situation is, yes, 50-50. Well, of course, nothing is 50-50. It's always 100-100. But in the societal standard...
It ain't never 100-100, baby.
Well, true, but still, in the concept of society, right, when they say 50-50, yeah, 50-50 relationship. If you cook, I'm cleaning. You know what I'm saying?
But that's your perspective. We got a whole crew of soft seasoned men that's saying, I want to live my soft era. I want this woman to take care of me.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's do it.
I want this woman to take care of me. I don't want her to give me any grief. I want her to be like my grandmama. Here's the thing. Grandmama had no choice. Because when your grandmama was grandmama and she was actually the woman, she didn't have rights to her own name. She didn't have rights to establish credit by herself. She didn't have rights to go get a job without a man's permission. So the grandmama that you wanted was in bondage. Women nowadays, they not in bondage. That's why they're so apt to say, no, I'm not waiting on you hand and foot. Not if we not working the same way. Not if we not moving in the same direction.
So see, the reason why DJ
talk about it, he was saying what he's
saying. I say all the time on TikTok, I'm in my soft man era. I don't care. What that means is, because there's this whole thing on what that means for everybody else. What that means for me is simply reciprocation. That's all that means, right? If I'm doing XYZ, it shouldn't be an issue for you to do whatever other XYZ is. That's it, reciprocation. There should be no problem with a man taking a day to himself, going to a spa, just relaxing. Just like you can do it, I can do it as well.
That's not considered, to me, soft era. That's you taking care of yourself. Soft era to me, this is Marcia, is dudes that's sitting back, wanting the woman to show up and do it all, and then cater to him, and she exhausted from doing all because he ain't did nothing.
Oh yeah, we talking.
So what you're talking about is something totally different,
right?
Here's what I do know, that when men and women are in a happy relationship with their person, there's always going to be an equal exchange of things and situations.
Right.
Baby, you know, I know you work 12 hours a day. I got your bath water ready. You know what, baby? I saw you leave out this morning. Your head was kind of low, so, you know, I knew I was going to make your meal tonight. That's partnership. That's equal relationship and reciprocity. When you're talking about, and it's for women too, because I know it's a whole bunch of ladies out there who feel like men owe them to buy them stuff.
That's crazy.
And to do stuff for them. Women probably gonna hit you up because I'm finna say something that's gonna piss them off.
Oh, they hitting them up right now.
As a woman, anything that I can do for myself, I was already doing it. Anyone that comes into my life can only add on to what I'm already doing in my life. If I'm expecting them to take care of me, well, hell, I might as well go to sleep.
Right.
Because where was I being taken care of before? Why do they owe you to take care of you? And that's the same way. You can't expect your wife to come in and be your mama. You gonna screw your mama?
You got a point.
I'm just saying.
Got a point there.
Right.
Hey,
So
I'm stuck.
My whole point is
In Alabama, they do. No,
probably in Arkansas too.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
the truth is this: the reason why most relationships aren't successful is most people have not been around healthy, successful relationships. When you don't have a personal identity for yourself and you're looking for someone to come in and make you feel good about yourself or build your ego up, you're going to be quickly disappointed because the moment that they get mad at you, they're going to stop lifting you up. And then where you going to be?
And then they're going to bring up everything you ain't doing.
But see, that's where the disappointment comes in. The issue is that if I've never seen, read, heard, or understood, and not reality TV, that crap is scripted.
It's not real.
It's not reality. And I could be a millionaire if I charged for the number of married couples that came in and they tell me that they learned how to be in relationship by a reality TV show.
Really?
But that's why they fall apart.
Really?
Because they're living unrealistic expectations.
It took me a while to even realize, what I was doing. And then, of course, it branched off from an argument. Well, I'm working and you working, but I'm planning the meals and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I say, you know what? I step up. I do better. If you cook, I wash the dishes. You do the laundry, I'll fold the laundry and put it away. It's about compromise.
It is.
I don't want to work 13 hours a day and come home and have to wash dishes and get a baby a bath and the whole 9 yards. However, I had to understand that this is exactly what I signed up for.
Right.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
And in that, it gave me a greater sense of, what could potentially be as far as my marriage. Because now she doesn't have a problem with, okay, you want to go hang with the boys? Have at it. Here, I bought you this just on a random day. It's not my birthday. It's not Christmas. Whatever the case may be, here, I got you this.
When women are in a situation where they feel seen, protected, and prioritized, you might as well go ahead and stamp your chest with an S because you're getting ready to deal with Superman.
Right.
Women will take care of their home when they feel heard, when they feel seen, and they feel like they're a priority. Men take care of their home when that woman makes them feel safe, when that woman makes them feel nourished and nurtured, and when that woman makes them feel like they're the hero. Bottom line.
And then we make them feel good on the inside part.
Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And the real reality is this. Even with longevity, with life situations, we know that there's a high level of impotency running between the ages of 25 and 45 because most men don't take care of their bodies. So where they fighting to try to come up, she already plateaued at her high horny state because that's just the way biology works. And then she getting frustrated, so now she got to buy the toys, and he getting frustrated because toys are replacing him. It's just a whole lot. You have to learn that there is a sinking that takes place. You have to sync yourselves. You have to work to make sure. And I'm not saying everybody got to be a size 0. I'm not saying everybody got to be whatever. What I am saying is be your absolute healthiest self from the top of your head, which is your mental, to the soles of your feet.
Right. So let me shift it a little bit. Let's go with y'all.
Yeah,
cool. Let me shift it. So let's talk about grief.
Okay.
For a second, right? Okay. And this is going to be a little tricky, so follow me. So, DJ, right? He lost his mother back in 2021, right?
Correct.
Right. He lost his mother back in 2021, right? I know that he's still grieving, right? I know that he's still grieving this, right? Now, he had no say-so, right, on losing his mother in 2021. I lost mine in 2019. I had to say so, right? So to me and DJ, we share the same grief, right? Point blank period, because they cannot come back. But of course, these are two similar. Are you following me?
Yeah, I follow.
Okay, cool.
I follow.
Of course, these are two different. Of course, looking at it, you'll be like, "Oh, what? Wait, hold on. These are two totally different, scenarios, but they're the same." How does one handle that?
So, the first thing we have to do is define what grief is. Grief is the process of missing and mourning what had been normal. You can grieve the physical loss of someone, meaning they've transitioned to the other realm, or you can grieve the physical loss where you don't have the same connection.
Right.
For example, my mother died in 2016. 6 months later, my father died mentally. Dementia set in, and from that point until he died in 2023, my dad was no longer my dad. So I grieved his loss. Mm-hmm. And so people kept saying, "Are you okay?" when my dad died. And I was like, "Yeah, I've been grieving for 7 years." Right. My dad didn't know my name. He couldn't say my name. I looked so much like my mom, he kept thinking that I was my mother. Even though they had been divorced since I was, about a year old. They were still tight. You know what I'm saying? And so, for the audience, DJ's mom transitioned to another realm.
Correct.
Your mom is still in this realm, but the connection that you had with her as her son has been severed. That's the grief cycle. People who won't understand and know your history, because I have to talk to clients all the time because of that mindset. Well, that's my mama. That's the only mama I got. You're right, but you're still a human. You still have a right to ask to be treated well. You still have a right to your own words of empowerment. And sometimes, unfortunately, there are family disconnects where this person may be so toxic in your life that you have to let them go because you can't heal. Right. You can't stop being angry. You can't forgive. You can't get your life back. I'll say this. There are some mothers who have the mindset that my children owe me because I gave birth to them.
Bingo.
I am totally different in my thought because my kids weren't there when I was screwing.
True.
They're the product of my choice of screwing. So I don't feel like my children have this obligation to take care of me. Just like I, after 18, don't have an obligation to financially take care of them. I get a right to my life like they get a right to their life.
My job is done.
For the most part, until they had grandchildren and shit, it started all over. But but even that is a choice, right? The thing is I think the missing connection between parents and children is this idea of entitlement. I'm entitled for you to do what I need you to do because I'm your mama. I'm entitled and expect you to do things because I'm your kid. Well, once you remove the entitlement out of that process, now I'm just human. And I get a right to say, this doesn't feel good for me.
Right.
I remember, and I think I shared this with you once before, OC, where for 2.5 years, I didn't speak to my son. Right. Because my son felt entitled to access to me. My son felt entitled to access to my money and being disrespectful to me. So I said to him after he kind of got up in my face, and I'm a roughhouse. I may not look like it. I know my glam be cute and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have no problem knocking the hell out of anybody. Right. That's just my reality. And he got in my face, and I said, and he took some stuff from me and then lied. The one thing I can't stand, and this is one thing I ain't gonna let go of, because my grandmother always said, if somebody lie from you, they can steal from you. If they steal from you, they can kill you. And I'm not letting you get the upper hand on me in no kind of way. Right. So once that happened, I had to decide, I need to sever this. I need to let him go through what he's going through. I was feeling guilty because he is a Marine combat veteran. I didn't really want to leave him out there on his own, but I had to, for my own sanity, back away from that relationship. What he said when he came back around, he said, I don't know if I would be where I am now and hustling to try to make my life better if you hadn't stopped talking to me.
He realized his selfishness.
He realized that when everybody was talking, the one person that had him was his mama.
Right.
Everybody, Marcia this, Marcia that, and Marcia really just didn't care what folks were saying because I know what I do. He had to recognize that for himself.
Right.
I say that in short, that you have a right to your sanity.
But see, there's a distance is a motherfucker.
It is. It hurts.
Distance hurts, but it's healing. You know what I mean? At the same time, right? Like, I go online every day, right? On TikTok, we talk about numerous things. I seldomly share my personal stuff. I know a lot of times when people say they come on my panel, they get disrespectful to say, "Hey, fuck your mother." I'm like, all right, cool. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
They're
cool.
still fighting
like,
words.
like, no, right.
Yeah, he talking about my mama now.
Like, but the thing is, like, it's like, what is that gonna do to me? You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna do nothing to me. Okay, cool. I don't care. That's how disconnected I am from that situation. But, and I had to create distance in order to get to where I am now. Because the thing is, right, as men, the first women we fall in love with are our mothers.
Correct.
Right? And a lot of men, the first women that break our hearts or our mothers. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that there is a toxic connection going on here, because how I am willing to do for you, you are not willing to do for me. You will put me on the chopping block if it's beneficial for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to sacrifice everything in the sake of you, but you're not willing to do that for me. That's the crazy part. So as an adult, you have to understand distance is so healing. Now, mind you, yes, it's painful. It hurts because you still have the memories of this individual that once cared for you and loved you, brought you in this world, etc., etc. But you have to come to the realization of understanding that, yo, look, if I stay in this state with this individual,
you can't heal.
You can't heal. It is going to break you more than it is going to help you.
Well, not only that, the unhealed part of you then goes from psychological to biological. When you have unhealed conditions in your life, things like high blood pressure, diabetes, migraines, heart issues, sleep disturbances, eating disturbances, gaining too weight, losing too much weight, that kind of thing.
You got a room in my house or something? What the hell?
All of those things are attached to your unhealing. The reason why so many people end up with medical disorders and diagnosis is because anxiety, depression, and unhealingness attaches to your organs. What happens with your organs? Brain tumors, glaucoma, can't see, right? I get thyroid issues and heart issues and intestinal issues, IBS and all that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is attached to your trauma. When you recognize the attachment and you start to disconnect, you can get on the track to being healthy.
All right.
That just got deep. I feel like she been in my chart or something. Because, I mean... I
can't get in my chart, but
I'm just saying, pre-diabetic, high blood pressure. A couple years ago, not like a year or two ago, in the hospital, diverticulitis, stomach issues. That described my situation to the letter. And I would honestly say, as far as me and OC go, our situations are similar. However, I feel like they're vastly different. Yeah, my mother was the toxic type. However, she did, take care of home, make sure we were fed, the whole 9 yards. But the fact that she was a drug addict,
it took hindered your childhood away,
right?
Because one, you then had to protect everybody else, including your mom. Two, that then became an opportunity for you to gain money to protect everybody else, including your mom. But your commitment to saying, that's my mama.
I just couldn't let go of that. Because at the end of the day, as I told you before, like, even with all the toxicity, all the grief and all the death surrounding myself and my family situation, I could never let go of that love for my mother because of what I've been through. And despite all of that, she was right there.
And that's the thing. Everybody's journey is different. I often tell the story, and, you know, this story is in, I think, both of the books at this point, where I felt I'm the youngest biological child that my mother had. And they lied and say the baby always get this fair treatment and yada, yada, yada. That's a lie, because that don't always happen. But I remember in my 20s, almost 30s, I had to have a conversation with my mother, because I said to her, I don't think y'all like me. And I don't feel like I fit in this family. And she said, I said, did you want me? And she said, no. Just flat out. And I was like, damn, it wasn't even a precursor. It wasn't nothing for me to get prepared for.
Right. Nothing after that.
And I took a deep breath. And I said, can you tell me why? And she said, I had just had your sister, and your father was abusive, and I knew having another kid was going to keep me connected to the abuse. I said, so is it fair to say that you didn't want the situation, but maybe you wanted me? She said, oh, no, once you got here, I wanted you. I didn't want the situation.
Right.
And she said, in her next breath, she said, but a mother knows her child. And you were the one I never had to worry about. And I said, that's unfair.
Right.
I said, it's unfair because the pressure was on me to beg for attention. The pressure was on me to be the best athlete, to be smart in school, to do this just so that I can get an iota of attention from you. I said, that was unfair. And of course, for a moment, she went into I just said, I'm a bad mom. I said, man, this ain't even about that.
Right.
I'm that kind. Listen, you not getting ready to manipulate me and to guilt trip me into what your victimization think is going to be. I was like, man, it's not even about this. This isn't about you being a good mother, because when it came to mother, I think I won. You're a sacrificer, I said, to the death of who you are. You will take care and protect everybody to the death of who you are. You love people. You feed them when you ain't got nothing for yourself. Been there, did that. This ain't got nothing to do with you being a mother. I'm asking you for me. And you've done that for me, which is validated that I didn't feel like I fit.
Right.
And I'm cool with that now, because now I know that that's what the truth is. Did it change my relationship with her? It did not. In fact, I was the one that she wanted to be with and wanted by her side when she passed.
Right.
I was the one that she dropped those last few breaths of secrets. I was the last person where we exchanged, I love you. I love you too. So you can't compare you all's journey, right? Because your journeys were different and how you got there. You and the love that you have for your mother isn't going to dissipate, right? You went through some things with your mom. It didn't lead you to a place to completely disconnect, right? With my mom, I went through some things, and it made me the product of who I am today. And that woman is my hero because I saw her. I saw her through her lens of pain, going through the abuse, being raped as a kid, being a sharecropper's daughter, having to pick cotton and leave school. I saw that.
Right.
So it's a different journey. And that's the thing that we have to do in this world, is stop trying to compare journeys and stop trying to judge journeys. Because everybody's journey and how they handle it is very different. Nobody has to be on the same journey. In the house that I grew up in, no, my siblings didn't feel like I felt. Not to this degree, not to the disconnect degree, right? But that was my journey. And I won't let anybody change that part of my journey because it was mine. But I don't also get into the battle of comparing what anybody else's relationship was. Like my journey with my dad, I chose to develop a healthy relationship with him. That was my choice.
Right.
And he and my mom, they were still cool. Like, way cool. And when my mom died, dude stopped living. Literally. He was physically here, but he literally stopped living. I was like, dang, that's serious.
That's deep.
Yeah. So, in your experience, right? What's a misconception that people have about therapy?
That we fix you. I don't fix nobody.
Right.
It ain't my job to fix. My name ain't Jesus or Jesus. I don't have time to be fixing nobody.
You better say that.
The truth is, when you come to therapy, we are guiders to help you get to the point of the goals that you set for yourself. That's it. Any therapist that says I'm going to fix you, they lying, because they can't. They not God. They didn't create you. What they can do is utilize tools to help you see things from a different perspective that hopes to lead towards your healing.
Right.
But ain't no fixing.
Right. So how do you navigate moments when a client's progress just is not moving forward?
You want my truth?
Yeah.
Yo, man, if I don't start seeing some change, we going to disconnect and I'm going to discharge you from therapy. You know
Straight
what
like
usually
that.
happens? Straight like that. My time is way too valuable, and I would hope that my client's time is too valuable. If you using therapy as a crutch, if you using therapy as a situation for socialization, now, trust me, in the therapy room, we cool like that.
Right.
I make you feel comfortable, but we're going to get down to work. The moment that I feel like you are too comfortable and content in your situation, XOC. I say, yo, man, you ain't turning in no homework. You ain't doing the stuff I asked you to do. You keep combating with me. You keep coming up with excuses. What's your plan?
Damn.
Did I not?
Call me up.
I'm just saying. You're right here. You're right here. But you know what that did? That made him get up and walk to the mailbox.
Lit a file.
Now, but let's talk about that though, right? Let's talk about that because I already know people will say, fat ass can't walk to the mailbox, walk to the mailbox, Listen.
They weren't in your place of depression, so they can't say nothing.
No. Like, I was just simply putting it out there, right? Listen, let's talk about the walk to the mailbox. Let's use it as an analogy.
Okay.
My house is here. My driveway is long, right? So,
Very.
Well, not that house. A different one.
different one.
Okay. Yeah. Let's say my mailbox is here, right? I stayed in the house for so long, right, by myself, going from point A to point B just to the mailbox. It seemed mentally for me, it seemed like
go 400 meters.
Yo, that's it. Mentally for me.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, I have to go outside. I have to hear this, people. Maybe somebody may walk past me and say hi. Now I got to start a conversation. I mean, all of these are going through your head. So walking to the mailbox simply in that depressive state was a great feat, right? I remember at times back in 2021, right, I used to go to therapy once a week. Once every week, right? OC, did you walk to the mailbox? Well, I didn't really have anything, but did you walk to the mailbox? It's not about whether you have something for the mailbox. Walk to the mailbox. Because over time, that's like retraining your mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
a physical reset.
Right. Like, yo, I literally disconnected the whole world.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I was inside the house. So walking to the mailbox was bigger than just walking to the mailbox. That was my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Walking to the mailbox, it was like a lifeline. It's like, yo, look, if you can mentally at least go outside I mean, just be ready for whatever may happen and just walk to that mailbox and see what's in there and come back inside. You're going to die inside this house.
I literally had some clients, I would just say, open the front door. Let me hear you open the front door. It would be that dark of a space for them. When you come to therapy, for Marcia, I'm going to meet you where you are.
Okay.
But if you have gotten to the point where you're so comfortable that you're no longer doing homework, you're no longer checking in, we're going to have to face an ultimatum. I shared with a couple that had been in therapy for a year and a half. The wife came in and said, it's the last shot before I file for divorce.
Right.
First year, nothing. Mm-hmm. That January, I said, yo, you ain't did nothing to change. You just giving me a whole lot of lump of words. I said, so check this. You got 3 months. This is my time frame. I don't care what y'all do at this point. You got 3 months to start doing some homework, start activating a lot of these goals because you're not wasting my time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You just got to be patient with me. You just got to be, da-da-da-da. And I say, no, I don't have to be.
Right.
Because your wife told you she was leaving. If that wasn't enough to get you up and moving,
right,
I don't have to do anything.
You don't want this.
And so ultimately, 3 months later, nothing. By the 4th month, I just wanted to let you know I've already filed for divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So then I started getting these victim emails. I can't believe bruh, no, we're not doing this. You're not going to send me no emails talking about you can't believe she told you. And you were so comfortable in not doing anything that you didn't take heed.
You didn't put in the work.
Didn't want to put in the work. Because anything that you want to do, you'll do. Mm-hmm. Period. And so when I have situations like that, I usually will, do some shot fired warnings. Got a young cat, did some shot fired warnings. All of a sudden, my inbox got blasted. I had all kind of homework that I forgot I had even assigned. I was like, oh. He's like, you ain't getting rid of me that easy.
You got some backlog paperwork.
Now with all the talks of like clients, like I've been trying to, even with DJ when he was in VA, I called you one time and I was like, hey, listen, my boy in VA, he needed a therapist, da. You was like, unfortunately I can't. Luckily he moved out here. Listen, for his first session, right, he called me, he was like, bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
What'd you say, DJ?
She's different.
Yeah.
She is different. I can tell, like, you're not above calling me out on my bullshit.
Not at all.
She kept it all the way 100, as she always does. And it's helpful. I needed that kick in the ass.
Well, I always tell clients when you come in, listen, if you're looking for a textbook therapist, I am not her.
Right.
Go ahead and check out now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm going to call you out. I'm going to assign you some homework. If you have moments that I need to coddle and encourage and all that, you're going to get that too. Mm-hmm. But to me, to become vulnerable enough to come to therapy means you're ready to do the work.
Right.
Now, I've had some that come in immediately after the first session, second session, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think they would think that I would get upset now because, I don't want to waste my time either. And then they come back. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Man, I should have just stayed.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. We're not going woulda, coulda, shoulda, because that's already in the past. There's nothing in the past that's going on that we can do anything with except for learn. Mm-hmm. We can't change it. We can't rearrange it. We can learn from it. We got right now. That's all we got. And then we move forward.
Well, just so you know, I did my homework. I just ain't turned it in yet. I got it.
It is.
I got it. I promise
so
upon
that just
thee.
means that when I check my message window, I'll see it in the next couple of days.
I wrote it. I didn't type it.
It don't matter. Take a picture of it and shoot it up. Don't play with me.
I keep telling him, Play with somebody else.
Play with somebody else.
True.
Or the two.
Okay. Hey, it is what it is.
I mean, so this is my thing, right? Dealing with me as a client for these past couple years, I don't know how you do it. But dealing with all the clients that you do as a therapist, how do you maintain your mental health?
Well, several things. That's a really good question, and I love when clients ask me that, or people that want to become clients ask me that. Multiple things. The first thing I recognize is y'all shit is y'all shit. It ain't mine. Mm-hmm. I don't have to hold on to it. I don't have to go to bed with it. I don't have to eat with it. I do what I call a spiritual regurgitation. I talk to you. 5 minutes after I finish with you, here come the next person, right? Because I now need to give this person my undivided attention because if you know me, you know that I don't come in with this checklist. Right. Trying to mimic after each one because each person brings their own personality, their own situation into the therapy room. So because of that, I have to get prepared for the next. On top of the fact, before I get to y'all during the day, I'm at the Veterans Crisis Line dealing with folks trying to kill themselves.
Right.
So now I got to get rid of all of that.
That's got to be rough.
Before I get to you all. So that means that I can't carry it. So I do spiritual regurgitation. Of course, I have a therapist. I do sound bowl. I meditate, right? I journal. It ain't nothing that y'all do that I hadn't done myself, right? Right. All of that comes into practice. And so with that, I've added in more self-care. Like I'll go and sit out on my patio and just soak up some sun rays. I'll watch something funny that does not make me think like a therapist. One of the reasons why I don't go out with a lot of people, I get tired of being a therapist for free. Right. I don't want to go out in public and then all of a sudden y'all getting ready to sit here and talk about all the stuff y'all got going on. And then expect me to help come up with something. I don't want to do that. So I do a lot of stuff by myself, like going out and stuff like that, because I just don't want to always be on. When I'm on, I'm on. And I will say this, being a therapist is an anointing and an appointment from the Creator. I didn't wake up wanting to be a therapist. I wanted to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. I still cut through the head, right, from the cognitive perspective, but I know that it's a gift, and I know that's not being cocky. I just know what I'm placed on this planet to do. Yeah.
So let's take a quick U-turn. Okay. One of the things you told me was, well, I don't know if you told me this because it was so long ago. Because one things you just said, I have a therapist, right? As a therapist, I have a therapist. How important is that for your therapist to have a therapist?
For me, and this is probably what a lot of therapists think about, is it's important because you need to regurgitate the stuff that you deal with in your own personal life. I've fired therapists before because they were more consumed with what I do in my therapy practice with my clients than me sitting here saying, yo, I got whatever going on. I had one therapist. She said, I don't think your insurance is going to cover any more sessions for you. You don't have any issues. I said, life is an issue. Right. Waking up some days is an issue. You mean to tell me, because I'm not in here broke down, busted, disgusted, filled with anxiety and depression, you can't talk to me? I said, bet, okay. And I got up and walked out. And I was just like, I had one therapist. She was more consumed with my doctoral program and what I was writing my dissertation on. I was just like, yo, I just need somebody to give me what I give other folks. Right. Marcia, get your stuff together. Learn how to tell your children to say no. Learn how to walk away and recognize you can't heal everybody in your family. I needed a therapist like that. I found one, right? And I'll text when something come up from a trigger from my childhood that I thought I dealt with, but then I have an emotional response to it. Yo, man, when, I need to holler at you.
Right. Yeah.
And then we do sometimes do therapeutic consultations Because in this field with things changing so much, you do want to work with other therapists to get some other techniques that may work, that helps you out and help you to get some footing, because sometimes there are some people that you just can't crack. You can't get through because they're so afraid of being vulnerable in the therapeutic space because they don't trust anybody. You have to come and, have some conversations with people.
Nah, I get that. Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, self-care, right? Because you did mention self-care. Self-care is a crazy buzzword, right?
It is. Almost despise it.
Right. So can you like explain different ways of self-care? Like if someone's like, okay, cool, you know what? I want to take time for myself. I have a self-care day as a man, woman, whatever. What are certain ways, to get self-care?
So the first thing I want to say is self-care doesn't always require you to spend money. Right. That's where I think a lot of people get lost. Self-care to me is being able to put a blanket in my backyard and take my sound bowls, and it's just me and the wind and the sound bowls. Self-care for me, if I'm going to do an outing, I have one of the best massage therapists on the planet. I will, book an appointment and be like, yo, man, I need a 2-hour massage. I need to go get that. Self-care could look like going and renting a hotel room for 2 or 3 days, leaving your phone, just a whole 9 yards. Self-care can look like something as simple as sitting in your bathtub, turning on some jazz, and writing in your journal. It could look like anything. Self-care is really, what can I do to restore my mental and physical self?
Right.
That's it. That's all self-care is.
I.e. smoking weed in my garage.
Okay.
Well,
Hey.
So do what you do.
Okay, so would you say self-care is sitting on your porch on a sunny day, lighting a cigar and just looking outside?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So
whatever soothes the mind. I
just want to make sure that next time I light on the front porch, nobody's judging me or nothing like that.
Well, here's the thing. Why would you be concerned somebody judging you? Why would you be concerned about somebody judging you?
Oh, no, it was
I mean, I know it's a joke, but I'm just saying, for people out there listening, why would you be concerned about somebody else's judgment of you? I remember going to Dominican Republic, and we went and I had them to roll me some cigars. And so I'm firing up a cigar.
Are you smoke cigars?
I'm firing up a cigar. And people's like, oh my God, Marcia. It's like, listen, let me tell you, I do have asthma, so you won't see me frequently smoking anything. But
check this one out.
Y'all excuse me for a minute.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
You can't. Okay, let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick.
Anyway,
so here we go. Hold on. Let me show you this real quick. You can't smell it through the plastic. Yeah. I
could smell the aroma.
Nah,
let me see.
It's a common mistake that people make. So just hold it from the tip, and
Oh yeah, that'll fire good.
Yeah,
that'll fire good.
Yeah.
And so when you think about
no, thank you, sir.
When you think about it, sometimes if I've had a really, really stressful day and I don't have to get up early, my self-care may be a shot of Hennessy. And or now one of my favorites is Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
What's that? Alcohol?
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, so Uncle Nearest is the black man that was formerly a slave that showed Jim Beam how to become Jim Beam.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you really want to get you some good whiskey, get you some Uncle Nearest. Some good bourbon, get you some Uncle Nearest.
Okay.
But anyway, self-care can look like whatever it needs to look like. What I was saying about judging is too many people are filled with anxiety because they're so consumed with what others think about them. If you are at peace and at please with yourself. You don't have to worry about anybody else's judgment.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. And that's where people get consumed.
Right. So in that vein of self-soothing, what are some resources or groups or anything you could recommend to Black men in general?
Oh, I love that question. So there is an organization called Black Brothers of Atlanta. It's a group of therapists that come together and they do group things with Black men. Also, my boy Scott Gordon and his son is Scott Smarty. Smarty Scott. He's a activist in the in the community. Y'all don't mess me up now. Don't be cussing me out because I got the names wrong. But anyway, a lot of times what they do is go to the community. At one point, they were literally going to different barbershops, giving men a safe space. I would encourage men to learn what you need from other men. The encouragement, the support, the togetherness, the ability to be vulnerable in situations, to be able to talk. Now, you don't want to give all the folks all of your secrets. Right. So you want to be very selective. I literally have 4 friends. Right? I have some associates strong along the way, but you can't get my get naked if I don't know if I can trust you with my get naked.
Yeah. No,
Facts.
for sure.
Right?
That is an absolute fact.
So for men, I would encourage you, 1, to give yourself permission to be vulnerable. 2, give yourself permission to feel. To express what you're feeling. And 3, please go to therapy. I honestly believe in the process of therapy. I believe that you need to court your therapist. And what I mean by that is you need to call them. Just because I may work well with some people, I may not be your cup of tea. Right? I know some men that can't work with male therapists because they had such an aggressive and abusive father.
Right.
They can't handle that kind that kind of connection.
I get it.
Right? And so because of that, you have to ask the right questions for a therapist to make sure that this person is going to be in the room with you, that this person is actually going to see and pull the best out of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, with the rise of social media, right, and its impact on mental health, do you think it's possible to have a healthy relationship with social media, or do you think it's just damaging?
I think that you can have a healthy relationship with social media if you have a healthy relationship with yourself. The issue that I'm finding is so many people, it's almost like Pavlov. Pavlov was a behavioral scientist who did the dog training.
I'm familiar with the name.
Give this one a treat for doing this, and you can make them salivate and things like that. Social media is a lot like that. Actually, there is a book, and I can't think of the name of it, but I'll get it to you. I'll get you the title. There is a book out there that talks about how those individuals in the tech field don't allow their children to have access to social media, because the goal and the intention of social media was to pull people in and have them so dependent on the likes, on the follows, on the friends and the subscribers, that they would lose connection with the reality.
The Pied Piper syndrome.
And so with that, and I'm sure the name of the book will come back to me, but because I've listened to it like 5 times because it's that important to me. I've even reduced my own social media presence in light of the current toxicity in America. I can only take in so much bandwidth of foolishness. And I don't do junk TV. I don't do junk stuff. I don't go and watch stuff just because I need to scroll.
Brain rot.
Listen.
My niece calls it brain rot.
My brain is the most powerful source of who I am.
Yeah.
And so you intake energy through your eyes, your ears, your nose, and your mouth. if you're not watching what you're putting in, you'll find yourself becoming angry like the rappers when they're rapping. You'll find yourself being loose like some of the women you may see that's, half naked. I think the biggest turnoff for me, and listen, I don't do no body shaming. I don't do all that because I'm a thick chick and I'm cool with me one way or the other. But I found it amazing when I saw all of these women, seasoned women. I'm 56, almost 57. Seasoned women say, I'll take this off for a shot of this, 2 shots in this. And I was just like, what in the entire world?
That's crazy.
Right.
And it was for likes. It was for a paycheck. But these same people have low self-esteem.
Right, you're somebody's mother.
It don't matter what you are, if you're doing it because you need an esteem boost and you haven't given that to yourself. Let me tell you, I've had people to say to me, oh, you got a cute face, but you thick. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Because my reality is
Facts.
If you're going to like me, you're going to like me, period. When I was a girl, a kid, I had low self-esteem, right? Because I was a child of molestation and all that kind of stuff and rape. And so I had low self-esteem. But baby, I can be a 0 to a 24. And I'm still going to be fine. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't live for waiting for other people to see me. I don't get up and get dressed waiting for somebody to say, girl, that look good on you. I know I bought it.
Right. And see, look, okay, this is something I used to do on TikTok all the time. And I always did what it's supposed to do. Whenever I would have a majority of women on the panel, I would say, hey, guys, rate yourself from 1 to 10. Right, and then they'll rate themselves, and then
why you said no?
It went bad so many times
because I like to set examples.
He likes to antagonize
because it's like this. Okay, so everybody, well, not everybody, but some people like 4, 6.5, and a few people said 10. I don't care who said 10. Whoever said 10, I was gonna say you're not a 10. I think you're a 6.
But
I don't.
and I'm gonna say
no.
this to you.
Look, hold on. Look. This is the reason why I did it, because I knew that the reaction it was gonna get. Right? If you wholeheartedly thought you was a 10, my opinion doesn't matter.
I agree.
I mean, it shouldn't matter at all, because I don't know you. Whatever. If you think you're a 10, live with that. That's on you. That's my opinion. So that's the only reason I did. I don't care if Holly Berry said she was a 10. Just to get that reaction, I would say, no, you're a 6. And I'll see if she'd be like, you know what? That's cool. That's your opinion. Let's move on. But if you really thought you were a 10, you'd be like, all right, cool. I don't care. I think I'm a 10.
The problem with that, and I like the idea of what you were saying to really kind of show people that you probably want to build your own confidence up. The problem is with social media, it's so easy to run into the fragility of egos.
No, for sure.
Those situations literally could lead someone to complete their life. I get the motive behind it. I honestly do. But on a screen, we don't really know how fragile somebody is. We don't know how easy it is. So, in essence, if I were to put that question out there, I wouldn't have focused on the one saying they was a 10. I would have focused on the one saying they 4 and 6. Okay, baby, tell me why you think you're a 4. Why can't you be a 10? What's going on? Because that's the healing. The 10 ain't the healing.
Right.
That 4 and the 6 is the healing.
Right. To piggyback, like, I've seen situations where it could be one of the most beautiful women you've ever seen in your life, and they have the lowest self-esteem to the point where they're ready to off themselves at any given moment. Completely gorgeous from head to toe.
But they can't see what other people see. If you wrestle with self-esteem,
right,
if you wrestle with self-worth, you can be flawlessly handsome and beautiful. But if you came up in situations where people told you were nothing, where people made you feel like you had no value. That stuff sticks. And so when they answer a question like that and they don't have a way to say, oh man, that's your opinion. See, for Marcia, if someone says to Marcia at this stage in her life, are you heavy? For real? Oh, I forgot to look in the mirror. That's me, right? But it took me to get to that place because I was that same girl who shied away from people seeing me because when I was growing up, I'll never forget being in high school. And this grown behind man said to me, I only come to the basketball games and the track meets to see your titties jump.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Literally, so that was my era of taping and all of that kind of stuff to keep people from looking at me because I was the victim of childhood molestation and rape. And so for me, I literally, when I started gaining weight, I literally gained weight because I didn't want people to be attracted to me.
Wow.
People don't realize some of the mechanism that you may use because you're abused. So I'm not knocking you for using that as a way to gain some traction to any of that. But I'm saying we don't oftentimes know somebody's underlying reason. Those person saying a 10 may have very well gotten to the point where they accepted that they were a 10 when people were telling them they were zeros. But they didn't necessarily. That trigger was, you gonna call me out like that? No, I'm a 10. I don't care what you say. Because now I'm back in the stage where I didn't remember I was a 10. So it doesn't necessarily denote that they don't believe in themselves. That means that there's still some more healing work to do because they have gotten to that place where they were cool, but they had not been confronted.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was called fat this and fat that, and until I started having that actual confidence in myself and people around me saying, hey, you may be fat, but you're a handsome fat guy. I built that confidence over time to the point where I don't even care now. I go to the beach, I'm let these man titties fly.
That's crazy.
These man titties is out of the gate, Jack.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But I think that with social media too, there are so many situations of aesthetics that come into play that you often don't get to see somebody's realness.
Right.
I think there's such a mask that takes place that it doesn't give you the opportunity to really be real. When you, I saw a video of a guy on social media. And dude said, I know I'm not all skinny, but I work out a little bit and I need dime pieces. Now, the petty Marcia said, no, nigga, you need a face. You need something to look at.
Right.
But the therapist side of me saying, dude, you have no idea how low your self-esteem is.
Right.
To really project your physical body desires on a woman because you can't meet it for yourself.
So,
oh, this would be heavy.
No. I mean, I was just saying. So
he rethinking a lot.
No. I just know for even this to happen. All right, for even this, like all of this, cameras, we're here now, right? I used to talk to you about the podcast. Yeah, I mean, and you used to encourage me to go ahead and do it. For all of this to happen, I want to say genuinely, it is because of you. I can say that from the purest part of my heart.
Wow.
All of this is literally because of you. Now, mind you, yes, a lot of people have been in my life and played part, but being here is because of you. And I don't know if therapists hear it from the clients or whatever, but I thank you for seeing seeing potential in me. I thank you for seeing more life in me to be willing to fight for me even when I didn't want to fight for myself.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, genuinely, I have the words in my head, but I don't know how to express it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for all that you are. I appreciate you for all that you are for everybody else. Because I feel like other people have the same story as me, and the other people, if they were here in this moment, they would be thanking you for saving their life.
Oh, wow.
So thank you.
I told you it was finna get heavy.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a special thank you from my wife, Alicia. She said, ever since I started our therapy sessions, I've been exceptional.
Oh, wow.
In the home and outside of the home. So from I won't say my last name up here. From my family, they greatly appreciate everything you've done and will continue to do, because I ain't going nowhere. As a matter of fact, we in our next session.
I don't know, man. I had to look at the calendar. You should know.
That's a part of my whole world.
I know. Thank you all really for those kind words. It brings great gratitude to me to know that I was selected to be on the journey with you all. I don't take that lightly. I think I shared with you in your first sessions, you don't have to do this journey by yourself. I'm here until you fire me. And because I always say I don't fire clients, I have to wait for them to fire me unless they come in and they be on that BS and don't want to do no work. But overall, you have to choose me. It didn't matter that you were referred by your friend and then you referred DJ to me. You still have to choose to show up.
Right.
And I have to honor the fact that you chose me to be on that journey. And then, of course, I got to, shout out the creator and be like, yo. Because every day I wake up with the same prayer. God, I thank you for choosing for me to be on this planet again. Who you got for me? What you need me to say and how you need me to say it to them in order for them to be their best self. Because the one thing I absolutely know is I was situated on this planet to help other people get to their absolute best self. That's it. That's my job. That's my anointing. That's my appointment. I walk in that thing. It's not with pride, but in a place of really respecting that the Creator said, hey, girl, I need you. I need you to be the one that's present. I need you to be the one. Don't get caught up on all of that. Because listen, I have therapists as clients. And I have people from all walks of life as clients. But when they all come into Peculiar One counseling space, they are individuals without titles. Right. Because it don't matter. You got to trust the process of therapy, and you got to trust your therapist. Right. Now, let me say this.
Okay. Disclaimer.
Here we go.
My books are full for now.
Right.
So if you get referred to me, y'all show me a little grace because my folks like to book their appointments. They book their appointments 3 months in advance. They very rarely cancel appointments. But after May, when I retire from the foolishness of the federal government, I will be opening up more daytime appointments versus, and I'll still have some evening appointments, but more daytime appointments. So there'll be a little bit more room, a little bit more flexibility. But truly, it's an honor.
Right. Yeah. So where can people follow you? How can they get in contact with you? All of that good stuff.
Nice. So for those that's out there right now in TikTok, I hit the mic. I hope it didn't mess it up.
No, you're good.
You can follow me on TikTok, Authentically Peculiar Marcia B. That's on YouTube. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook too. And LinkedIn, for women who are battling anger, trying to identify why they're so angry. I have an in-person conference That's August the 26th in Hampton, Georgia. You can go to marciablaine.com, grab your ticket. I have some dynamic speakers along with myself. We're going to feed you for $25. You can't beat it. You're going to have a whole little brunch layout. I think they're doing shrimp and grits and all kind of stuff. Now for the men.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get to it.
I am working with some men. I'm checking out a date in August. Still gonna run around $25 to $30 per person, but we are going to the conference will be entitled "Men Heal Thyself."
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be talking about the bravado of a man, that chest beating type situation. We'll be talking about what it's like to open up and to be emotional. Sorry, my daughter, she thinks she my mama, so she's checking to make sure I'm straight. Right. But for the men, one of the reasons why I want to be able to create a safe space with men is because I recognize that sometimes men need mama hugs. Sometimes they need that mama voice, but they also need, and I got 2 dynamic male speakers that's going to come and rock the house and help bring some footing. So both spaces is open up to 50 men, 50 women. I'll get more with the details and all that kind of stuff, and you can post it. But you can go to marciablaine.com. I send out weekly newsletters. This one for this week is going to be talking about how trauma in your body connects, meaning if I touch you, we just had an experience. We just exchanged energy.
Right.
So imagine what happens when people get intimate. And you done had 3 intimate partners, and your 3 intimate partners that had other partners, and so on down the line. So now you pulling all that energy in. I'm going to be talking about in the newsletter this week how to disrupt that energy flow.
Gotcha.
Go to marciablaine.com, hit the subscribe button. Go to YouTube. I'm trying to build up my followers on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. You can go out there. So it's about 700 videos out there right now. 5-minute meditations, 3 years of podcasts. The new podcast season is getting ready to roll up.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how they can get in contact with me.
That's beautiful. Well, look, I can say this from me and DJ to you. Thank you for coming along.
I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is going to be a great episode. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere that we post it. I'm your host, OC.
I'm DJ.
And you're listening to Dissensio Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Dissensio Podcast. If you have any questions, any stories, you can email us at dissensiopodcast@gmail.com. Peace. All right, cool. That was fucking beautiful.
That was awesome.
That was fucking nice.
Yay!
Thank you, guys.